Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of art, it's the Tenant Podcast. I'm Todd Pearson, coming to you from the 40 West Arts District in Lakewood, Colorado, and joining me from his art bunker 389 miles away on the road of enchantment. You know him as quite possibly the most interesting man in the world, my brother in art, Wes Brown.
Oh my God, Todd, it's another week. They keep letting us do this. I can't believe it. And it rained so much the other day. I think I have a moat around my house, but the bunker's dry. I'm dry. Looking for another great week. This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. And I'll tell you what, we've had our fair share of rain here in Colorado. I know multiple people that their basements flooded in the last 24 hours because we had like pretty much 3 days of rain. It was crazy.
That is nuts.
I don't have a basement, so I don't have to worry about it, but I did crawl them into my crawl space and I had a little bit of dampness down there, but I feel bad for the people that my friend down the street said he woke up at 3:00 in the morning to his daughter waking him up to tell him that there was a river running through her bedroom. So
nice. Oh my God. I love that.
It's horrible. So I loaned him my shop vac to suck up some of that water, but terrible.
It is.
I mean, great for the whole water scenario. And supposedly I read the other day, we had like 25, I read two different things. Between 25 and 30% of our annual rainfall happened in the last 3 days.
Wow.
Here in Colorado. That's a lot of flipping rain. Yeah,
it rained like 2 days solid for us. And I think we had 6-7 inches of rain. So, which is a lot for us, but anyway. But it's all going to get soaked up, and then July will be like knee deep in drought again, I'm sure. So
yeah, it'll be brown.
Crazy times.
Fires will be,
raging.
Flames will be licking, they're making their way to your door. Let's hope not. Anyway, ready?
Let's do this. Let's talk some art.
Ready to get your art infusion?
I'm all hooked up. The needle's in my vein. Let's do it.
Man. Yes. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can always find out what we're up to via our social media on Instagram at Tenant Podcast, our Tenant Podcast Facebook page, and of course, our website, tenantpodcast.com. Our guests this week have recently embarked on an exciting new art enterprise. 3 artists, 3 friends working in different mediums, bringing the beauty and the joy of art via a new gallery in downtown Colorado Springs area. You can explore what they're doing and their offerings via their website, truenorthartgallery.com, and you can follow them on Instagram at true_north_art_gallery. Welcome to the program, Skylar Call, Melissa Porter, and Marisa White. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Wonderful. Thanks for having us on.
A little more exuberance.
Yay!
There we go. Thank you, Skylar.
Well, this is the first. This is the first time we've had 3 guests on, so it'll be interesting to juggle around. This will be fun. So
we're trying not to talk over each other.
Yeah, there we go. And we're doing a really good job. Long pauses.
Nice dead air.
Yeah, no, that's all good. And that'll get probably edited out. So, but anyway, it's good.
As we get started here, I want you to each take a moment and introduce yourself to our listeners, and then just take a moment and describe what each of you do as artists. Let's start with you.
So I didn't go to college for art. I sometimes wish I had now, but it just didn't happen at the time. I spent too much time partying, so didn't take that seriously. And I also didn't think like you could make a living at art. That was that lie. So I moved to Colorado in my early 20s, and in 2011, my sister passed away, and I kind of took a look at my life and just really wanted to do what I'd always wanted to do, and gave myself permission to go for it. And so going to the local college was not really in my budget. So a friend of mine was like, why don't you just take classes from Brett Andrus? He's a really good friend of mine, and he's really good, and he owns his own gallery. and it was really affordable. And so I just signed up for oil painting classes, and that's what I do today. And actually, Brett Andrus is my coach today, and I work with him to kind of set goals. And I'm not a full-time professional artist. I've kind of made that decision on purpose because I like to protect my creative inspiration and my energy. Like, I don't want to feel pressured or stressed to have to provide income. I want to be able to be free to create based on, what inspires me and where I'm at. And I kind of cycle. I spend some time really digging in and getting in the flow, and then I step away, which I think is probably what a lot of artists do anyway. But I work in oil mostly. I love to paint portraits, but I don't do commissions because, again, I don't like the pressure of somebody's expectation on me for that. And so I just I paint portraits because I love the emotion in the faces that I see, and it helps me kind of express my own emotions. And art has been a huge catalyst for helping me, process feelings and grief, and just putting on the canvas what I can't really articulate. And it's also really challenging. It's really hard to continue learning how to paint. Not, sometimes it's like yoga. I feel like I can do really amazing one day, and the next day I'll come in and just feel totally off balance and nothing's coming out right, and I can't get the nose or whatever. And so it's really just kind of a day at a time practice of showing up and doing the best I can. And I do learn a lot from each painting that I make. So, and I do a lot of bright colors, a lot of florals, and then my portraits are usually sad. So kind of this juxtaposition of super bright, beautiful, intense colors with this other side that's kind of, sad and struggling. And that's kind of my path right now.
So your portraits, are they from actual models? Do you have models that do it, or is it all from your imagination?
Yeah, no, I use models, but they don't come out with the likeness of the model. I'm getting a little closer to that, but I try, usually I just try to I just follow the art spirit that comes out, and it kind of turns itself into what it wants it to be, is kind of my experience. So I don't really know what it's going to look like ever. It just kind of comes out and is a surprise to me, usually in the end too.
Nice. So have you ever tried to psychologically examine yourself while you have these bright, wonderful colors, and then the figure is sad?
Yeah, well, I was talking to another artist in our co-op the other day about this, and he does the same thing, but I kind of am able to see what's going on in there after I do it. I'm like, well, this explains everything, this makes a lot of sense to me. And so, yeah, I'm pretty good at interpreting what I intuitively put down after the fact.
Neat. So. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Marisa, how about you?
Oh gosh. Yeah, so I did go to school for art. I've been kind of dabbling in art my entire life. I kind of joke that I grew up as the black sheep of the family. The rest of my family were scientists. And while I would sit and draw and paint in my room, my sister would craft out or draw out the entire digestive system on a chalkboard and teach her imaginary friends. So that's how different we were. And so it was kind of funny. Family didn't quite get me the whole time. And I also kind of was indoctrinated in the thought process that it was, impossible to make a living as an artist. So when I got offered a scholarship to attend the Kansas City Art Institute, it was met with not disappointments, but definitely no, you can't go. We want you to have a full, well-rounded education. So I ended up going to the University of North Texas, and I actually have a BFA in drawing and painting, although I don't draw or paint anymore. But I did get a minor in business, and that has helped me in more ways than one, that's for sure. So I definitely, at least thank you, Mom, for pushing me in that direction, because I think that's something that is a challenge for a lot of creatives, is that business side of things. But unfortunately, one thing that they don't really teach you in art school is how to do the business side of art. It's all about, harnessing, your craft and focusing on the different mediums and the what you're working on as far as that goes. But rarely is it, well, here's how you get into galleries, and here's how you manage a budget, and all of that aspect of it. So, I came out of art school, feeling like, well, okay, that was 4 years gone by, and now what am I going to do? Right. So I worked in several different areas, advertising agencies, and I worked for a payroll company in sales for a bit, owned my own payroll company, and then ended up selling that when I met my husband because he was in the Air Force at the time, and I knew we'd be moving around quite a bit. So sold the company and then ended up going to photography school. So back up and let's talk about that for just a moment, because while I was in college, they made us dabble in a bunch of different mediums. So we had to take ceramics, printmaking, sculpture, all that. But it was the dark room and black and white photography that I absolutely fell in love with. And you couldn't get me out of there. And I ended up staying in school a full extra semester just because I was having so much fun. It was just like being completely in the zone, with red lights and fixer and, it was just magical. And so at that point, all my work really started to have more of a mixed media feel to it. So I was incorporating photography into my paintings at that point. Now, fast forward back, after I sold the business, went to photography school. I went to the Rocky Mountain School of Photography up in Missoula, Montana. It's like the best summer of my life. 3.5 months of really just 100% indoctrinating oneself with about 60 other photography lovers in this most gorgeous setting for a summer. It was just incredible. And that is where I learned Photoshop. I was a bit of a purist for a long time, and it took me a while to get into digital photography. But once I was actually shown how to use Photoshop, that kind of changed my world too. Because now it's like, well, great. Everything that I'm seeing in my head now, I have the tools in order to create it. So that leads me to what I do. So I'm a photographer. I do digital composite work. So basically I take multiple photographs and I digitally stitch them together in post to create often surreal and fantastical narratives. So I'm a bit of a storyteller when it comes to my artwork. And I often say I use this kind of surrealism to really kind of hyperbolize, emotions that maybe we aren't able to easily, say with words. Yeah, there's a lot of common themes that run through my art that kind of circle around fear, the unknown, spirituality. I mean, ultimately kind of things that, we suffer as being human, right? So it's all about kind of the human condition. But yeah, that's what I do. I've been kind of doing this work now for, I guess, a little bit more than 10 years, this specific kind of work. And I've been a full-time artist now for about almost 2 years. Yeah, it'll be 2 years come this July, which has been exciting and scary and wonderful. And, I'd say like the first 6 months is probably like, even when I owned my business, I said this too. It's like, you feel like your stomach is doing hula hoops around your ass. So it's just all the nervousness and excitement around all of it. But not to say it comes with its challenges, but it's fun being kind of in charge of my own schedule. And, that's it. That's all I got.
Got it.
Well, you win the prize for the best description of what it's like to strike out on your own and be a full-time artist. I've never heard it described like that, but bravo. That was excellent.
Well, it's like you've got the butterflies, right? And then the butterflies start having babies. So now you've got this whole aspect. It's not enough to just say butterflies in the stomach. It's like, no, there's something else going on here. It's like this pit that just doesn't leave.
Your stomach doing hula hoops around your ass.
Pretty much.
I love it.
I feel it.
Yeah.
And Melissa, you?
I actually have an education in art. I have a BFA in fine art photography, but I did not go to college right out of high school. I floundered spectacularly trying to find my place. Growing up, I was kind of like my options were secretary or hairdresser, neither of which appealed to me. And I was floundering spectacularly. And my brother had actually said, you need to go back to school. You need an education. And signed me up at the community college where I'm from and picked all the business classes that I was supposed to take and said, you can pick your electives. So I picked photography, and I'm fortunate in that the program at the community college had an amazing dark room, and I loved it. It was the chemicals, it was the red light, it was the camaraderie. I was actually good at it. Growing up being dyslexic, this was the first thing I was actually good at. Right. And I took as many classes as I could there and made friends and realized they were all transferring to the art school in Detroit. I didn't even know Detroit had an art school, but Center for Creative Studies, then now College for Creative Studies, had a 4-year photography program. I didn't need to take a math class. And I was in, right? It took me 5 years to get through it, but I did. I loved every minute of it. And then coming out of there, I had built a career from being a photo assistant, working my way up, production coordinator, stylist, all automotive because it's Detroit. But that also allowed me to travel all over the country, right? Because big ticket photo shoots for autos, we're going to California, we're going to the West Coast. We're like, I loved it. It was amazing. Got married, left my career to raise my kid. My daughter's adopted, and spent the next, I don't know, 20 years as a portrait photographer out of Detroit, right? I got to change my own schedule and stuff. And somewhere in the process, the wheels fell off of everything, my life, my marriage. And I was like, you know what? I don't love this photo portrait thing that I'm on, and fuck this, and decided I was going to do art. So I took a sabbatical for a year and just really dived into the art. And because my background in education is photography, fine art, I didn't have a darkroom. So I turned to assemblage. I had been a treasure collector, and I had this collection of antique clock cases. And I was like, I'm going to tell my stories using all these found objects. And for me at that point, it was a way to make sense of what was happening and to ground myself. 3 years ago, I moved out here to Colorado. My brother lives here. And he's like, I need a real estate photographer, and you're a photographer, and I'm a realtor. So come on out, set me up with some housing. And I've been doing that part-time while I've been building my art career and friendship circle here. Since I've arrived here, I've been really focusing on using my voice as an artist. I've found encaustic as a medium. And to me, that feels a lot like photography and being in the darkroom. It's got a odor and tactile, very much like being in the darkroom. The wax is kind of foggy until it's not, which is like the images coming up in the tray in the darkroom. So once I found encaustic, I was like, I'm all in. I love it. I can layer images. I can collage. I can use my photographs in this medium. So right now I'm kind of oscillating between assemblage with the encaustic and pure encaustic collage. That's where I'm at right now.
Right on. 3 really interesting stories, and we could do an episode, and we probably will in the future, with each and every one of you. It's always interesting to hear each person's individual journey, right? Because no one does this thing the same. Everybody has their own path, just like in life. And it's always curious to see how little things kind of come together to set you on a particular path. I always find that fascinating. What is it about the Springs that you all are from different places originally. What do you guys love about the Springs?
I'm an outdoor person, and I process by walking. So to be out here in the mountains and be able to hike and process and hike and process and see the view and not be able to breathe, like all of it, it feeds my soul in ways that the flatlands of the Midwest just couldn't.
Yeah, I actually came out here when I was about 9 years old. My cousins have a cabin in the mountains here, and I remember that peak. Like, I remember Pikes Peak, and I was just, since I was 9, I was like, someday I'm gonna move there. And then in my early 20s, I came right on out. I didn't know anybody, but I love the mountains. So.
And as for me, my husband and I came through Colorado back in 2011 on a road trip. We were just going to do a 2-week road trip around Colorado when we lived in Texas at the time. After that, we since moved and lived all up and down the East Coast and got sick of that whole following DoD jobs, and finally sat down and had kind of a come to Jesus talk about where do we really want to be? Because the DoD kind of takes you to places where, very uninteresting places around the country. And so we figured we wanted to be somewhere that inspired us and not someplace that, for just the sake of a job, for the sake of money, where we didn't know anybody. And so we reflected back on the road trip that we had. And when we landed in Colorado Springs that time, and he had a few friends here that were living here at that moment, it just felt like home. There's just something about it. I grew up in Houston. He grew up in Sacramento. And so he wanted a smaller city than obviously, Houston, which is just massive. And I needed something that had a little bit of, amenities to it. So we needed to find some kind of common ground. And then he really, growing up in Northern California, wanted to be close to the mountains. And so, yeah, we just landed on this place. And yeah, there is something that kind of speaks to your soul. I've always said that my church sits on top of a mountain and I can see the mountain from my window here. It's just, yeah, it kind of replenishes you. Absolutely. So, yeah.
How did you guys come together to do this? How did you three meet?
Shannon Mello is how I met these two. She was an artist that I was with at another gallery, and she invited me to come hang, and I met these two.
Skylar, you and I actually met at a Pikes Peak Art Council meeting. I met Melissa through Shannon Mello for sure, but you and I met at a meeting.
That's right. And we all were connected by Shannon because we all knew her, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We met a mixer. Me and Marisa did.
Yeah.
And Melissa, how did you come into this cruise? Just through Shannon Mello?
Yeah, I had met Shannon. She's also from Michigan and an encaustic artist. So when we met, we just like, oh my God, you're my person. And then she introduced me to Marisa, and we happened to be out one first Friday night. And I think we went to Marissa's opening at Kinship Landing, and it was COVID-y still. So we were all sitting outside in jackets and stuff. And it must have been around Halloween because Skylar, that's when I met you. You kind of popped in, was walking by, and we were all sitting outside, and Skylar was dressed like a reindeer. And I'm like, oh my God, I love her. I just instantly like little button nose and these antler ears. And I'm like, yes, you sit next to me. Right.
I love that.
And it was that time though, too, we were all sitting there and talking about how great it would be to have our own gallery space. Yes. And Shannon had some crazy idea down the street that used to be like some, what was it, motorcycle shop or something?
Bike shop, right?
Yeah,
we could all go down there and do this thing together. It was like
Shannon was obsessed with this space on Nevada, and we were like, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, but that was what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was a while ago. And then
COVID, we were all in
COVID. And then I had gotten an opportunity from a friend to have a space. Is that part of this question? How we got started?
Yeah. You bet.
How we met? Yeah. We had I had talked to a friend, and he had offered, like he said, hey, I know of a space coming available if you are wanting to do that co-op thing. So then I called actually 3 people, and one of them had to fall off. And I said, you guys want to do this? Like, do you want to have a conversation about it? And they said, hell yeah. So, and then
I mean, this conversation was the middle of January. I mean, it was not even an inkling last year. It was the middle of January, and we
that space fell through. We didn't end up getting that space that was offered to us originally, but I feel like we found a great space, almost even better because it was a little closer to Tejon, which is so, coveted.
Mm-hmm. I got to give full disclosure. I love Shannon Mello. I think she's an amazing woman. She's an amazing artist. Yeah. So it's funny that she's the one, because she's been on the podcast, and, we really like her stuff, and that she's the one, the catalyst that brought you all together. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Awesome.
She's like that glue. I feel like
she's amazing.
She's got charisma.
She's
for sure.
Such a light. She's just got the smile. She's always smiling, always talking to people. She's really, really such a great person. She just builds people up, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. So inclusive.
Yeah.
So the idea, the catalyst, the seed happened during COVID, and then it really took off this past January.
Yeah. Yeah, it was January. And then we signed a lease,
February 6th.
Yes. And we opened April 7th. So and in that time too, we had a fundraiser to help raise money for renovation. So basically the whole renovation aspect of this space was turned over in a month, which is, I still get baffled thinking about that and how we managed to do that, because it seems impossible, but we made it happen.
So I got a question. So we're going to do a little business geek out thing. So how did 3 of you come together and pull this together? Like, what's the business structure of like how this whole thing operates?
We all 3 are kind of the president together. And actually, we've done a really great job of hashing things out together. And we've been we've pretty much been on the same page with almost every major decision. Like every major decision, we've just kind of come to fairly easily, honestly. I mean, it's been intense and stressful because everything, but the idea is that we all have committees and we run it together. And everybody has their own responsibilities. And now we have 15 of us. So we're kind of the three of us are the tripod, as Melissa has deemed us the tripod. And we decide together and divvy up responsibilities, and then just everybody comes together and kind of checks in about where they're at. And we're starting to vote more collectively, all 15 of us now. So but yeah, in the beginning, it was the three of us hammering things out. And then that's all I'll say about it.
How did you figure out who was going to be responsible for certain things? Did that just happen organically, or you kind of already knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you just kind of took the ball and ran with it individually? How did that play out?
We actually had a meeting to talk about our strengths and weaknesses, right? It's like, okay, well, Marisa has an amazing business background, right? So, okay, finance and stuff, if it's numbers, I'm out, right? And, Skylar's got the vision, and together we just kind of sat down and was like, yeah. And here's a hole. It's like, oh, I can fill that. And here's a hole and I can fill that. And then as the members have been coming on, it's been amazing because it's like, oh, I really can't handle all of this. And then we'll get a member. It's like, oh my God, you do social media, take it, run with it. I love you. Right. And it's been very organic that way. And whenever we've found like we really need a person to fill this gap, that person has showed up. It's like it has been really,
you want to call it easy, right?
It's been strange and kind of woo-woo the way everything has kind of fallen into place. Like, because Skylar's talking about how we kind of all came together, and it's like, okay, we're talking, and I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And I got tasked with finding the name of the business. And it was like, okay, we had kind of narrowed it down to a few couple names, and north was important because the gallery faces north. And as a photographer, north light is the best light, right? So it's like, okay, we want that to be part of the name. And I'm searching. It's like, oh my God, what we want is available. It's available on Instagram. It's available as a website. Then I had to start to pay attention. It was like, okay, the universe is pushing this and lining everything up so effortlessly, which is not to say it hasn't been hard or difficult, but it just has flowed. And when things flow the way this has, you got to pay attention and you got to go with it. Right.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have a tendency to not pay attention to those things and not listen to that inner voice sometimes. So it's cool that you're in tune to that and that you kind of followed this path, and, it's all kind of fallen into place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we all come with our different skill sets, and we really kind of balance each other out in that way too, which was just a lovely recognition with the three of us.
Well, I love the name that you came up with. Did there have to be any voting on the final name, or Melissa, that was truly just up to you to like pull that together?
We just kind of brainstormed and like, okay, True North. It's like, and then Marisa came up with like North to me was important. And then Marisa, I think, came up with True North, because we're all on our own paths and we're all searching for our own truths. And as a collective, isn't that what we want? Right? To be able to all do our own truth, mm-hmm. to do it together, and it works together.
Well, it's a fantastic name. One of the best names that I've heard in a long time, just so you know.
Well, thank you.
And I love the various meanings and how you can read into that. So good job on that. You've all been doing art for quite some time. Did any of you ever think that you would be a part of, or not necessarily a part of, but have this a gallery that you could kind of call your own?
I wanted the co-op style gallery. I've never wanted to own a gallery myself because I wanted to just create, and I didn't want to have to do that. But definitely, so I've kind of been no, I will not run a gallery, because somebody had kind of suggested it to me that might be trying to move on or something. And I said no, but I would love a co-op because I love the team style setting. And the fact that all the artists would have ownership was really appealing to me. And that we could show all year round, and that I could have a space to show with my fellow like friends and artists. I've always really liked that. I did my first showing of art was at the Commonweal co-op in Manitou. They have a 45-year running huge festival in Manitou. And that was the first place I really showed. I got a space there and showed my work for the first time, like 8 years ago, maybe. And I just was like, man, I really love the co-op style. So.
Right on.
Was it always going to be a co-op, or was it originally thought of just being the three of you, or did you always know you were going to be a larger group?
We always knew it would be larger.
Yeah, we were, the space that we landed in too, we were a little concerned because it seemed a little small looking in from the outside. But once we got in and saw that, no, this feels a little bit more spacious than it was deceiving on the outside. And that was one of the first things that we did too, is kind of measure the walls to gather the linear footage to see, okay, what's the cost of the rent? What do we think the utilities are going to be? How can we subdivide this in order for it to make sense? So yeah, from the very get-go, it was very much in line with, having a full community of artists there.
And from what I know, and making multiple trips in the past little over a year, I guess it is now, I've really tried to tap into what you guys have going on down there. And it's a wonderful community of artists. Like, it's really tight knit and very supportive. Is that the vibe? Am I in tune to what's going on down there?
I would say, yeah.
It's one of the benefits of not being such a big city, right? We all get to really know each other.
And Colorado Springs in general, I feel like, is pretty tight knit with artists. Like, I feel like we know each other. Like, we're going to the different shows. And so even, not just the co-op, but man, we do have a great group of people at the co-op.
We do. We got good people. Since landing here, and I landed during COVID, everybody has been nothing but inclusive and warm and welcoming and, allowing me to be exactly who I am. So it's a good community.
Yeah, I love the vibe down there. And I tell people all the time up here in Denver. And when I need a break from the Denver scene, I love coming to the Springs. And we've made so many friends down there over the past year and a half or so. Shannon being one of those people. Yeah, I always love coming down and checking out and seeing what's going on. It's refreshing when I come down to see what you guys have going on. Really is.
The thing I like about what you guys are doing is you got a collective of artists that is supportive. And I don't think you always get that. I think a lot of times artists can be very competitive and really fear about the zero-sum game. But the fact that, and we've heard it from other people from Colorado Springs, that the fact that you guys are working together and, and being very supportive of each other, that's huge.
Yeah, and we tried to eliminate that competition aspect too. So within our space particularly, we really try to allow every artist to have their own unique voice. So if there's any other artist that is seeking membership that resembles another one of us, then, we're going to politely tell them that we'll put them on the wait list until an opportunity opens up. But we don't want there to be any competition amongst us. Obviously, people have different styles, and art is very subjective, and they're going to like what they want to like. But we want everybody to shine in their own unique ways. So that was very important to us when we set this up too.
So you have 15 different artists. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you see growing bigger than that, or is there a limit to how many artists you can have?
Well, obviously the space is a limitation, right? We can still fit a few more people in. I think Sweet Point is probably about 2022. And then if we end up getting any three-dimensional artists, we have a little bit of space for them as well. So we'll just see. I mean, obviously we don't want it to get too big, but and the space won't allow for it regardless. But we do have some extra room for anybody that's interested.
And then if somebody applies, do you have a committee that looks at the artists, and how does that structure work?
Yeah, so we have a membership committee. They're the ones that field any of the applications that come through. They look to see if there's any kind of conflicting styles or, to see if the overall quality of the work kind of matches the quality of the current work that's in there, because that's also very important to us to maintain a certain level quality amongst all of the artists, because we're only going to benefit and help each other in that way. And then for those that are not quite ready, we politely, encourage them to apply again in the future. For those that, have really good work, but maybe they resemble somebody else, we, thank them for their application and ask them if we can put them on the wait list. And then for those that, yes, there's absolutely an opening, then we invite them in and have them come review their portfolio, make sure their personality is going to jive with the rest of us as well too. And then, the membership committee invites them in officially. So it's a bit of a process, but it's also, this is our baby, right? We want to make sure that we're bringing nothing but positive energy and artists that are similar in the mission that we have and that we have built through the gallery.
Now, initially, did you reach out to some of your artist friends to be a part of this? And say, like, we would definitely want to have you to be a part of this?
Yeah, especially in the beginning, because we were like, okay, we're ready. We signed the lease. We got to start calling people. Like, we needed to get organized first with what we were offering people. And so once we got the budget in line, we did start making a few phone calls. And then, but honestly, pretty quickly, when you say guys, pretty quickly, we just started getting inquiries pretty shortly after that. People started seeing our progress on media and being like, hey, what's going on? So
have the other galleries around town, have they been pretty supportive of what you guys are doing?
Yes,
absolutely.
It couldn't have been better.
Yeah, we had another co-op in town who so graciously gave us lots of information to help us build our own. And so we took what we felt was important for us and then modified it. And then some of the other galleries in town have been nothing but encouraging. And so, yeah, it's a great community of art, just a great art community all the way around. We were welcomed with open arms.
Yes, very gracious. No feelings of threat at all coming from anybody. Everybody was just like, yay. So It was very cool. Very cool.
Open doors, open arms.
Yeah.
You mentioned this other cooperative. Are there a lot of cooperatives around the Springs area?
No, not a lot. There's, I think, 2.
Well, I think there's actually maybe, I think 2 or 3 in Old Colorado City. And if you count Eclectico, I think is a bit of a co-op. They do have that space downtown too. So maybe there's 2 downtown Colorado Springs, a couple in Old Colorado City, and then the one in Manitou, right?
Eclectic, they're not a gallery though. They're more like a maker's market. But yeah, right. If you count the maker's market one, there's 3 of those alone, I think. But I was thinking more of like gallery ones. So I only know of 2 of the gallery ones, but there's probably more I don't even know about.
How much square footage is the space that you guys have?
What is it, 500? What is it? I thought it was 520 or something altogether.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, it's not very big at all. So we have the main gallery space, which I think is let me do the math real quick, because we've got, it's like, hold on. 25.
We all have a 4-foot wall space, about 4 feet we hang about as high as 8 feet. And so we were able to divide up about 20 some spaces with 4 feet each. Oh, there's one 3-foot wall, right? Is it 3 feet?
2 3-foot walls, yeah. So the main gallery space is 350 square feet, and then there's a little extra through the hallway, and then the back storage, which is, pretty similar to the hallway space. It's pretty tiny. So nothing too terribly big that we can't all manage, because that's always my big thing too, is like the bigger the place, the more you have to clean it.
It's so true. And you know what? You can always grow, right? So start off small. I always believe start off small and just grow it from there. And that's, then you're not biting off more than you can chew, right?
It's manageable.
Yeah, actually the lady that started the other co-op, that she just helped us with a wealth of her information. She's been going 11 years, and she started out real small and she got pretty big, and now she has a wait list a mile long. So yeah, I hadn't thought about expanding, because I'm so happy where we are, but I guess that's a possibility. We did find a space that was very cool with these big brick walls that were just gorgeous and hot. Like, it was a beautiful space too. So thanks. That's fun to think about.
It's always great to dream, right?
Yeah, Absolutely.
Um, how long did it take you to get this space ready? You talked about fundraising for the renovation. How long did it take you from the time you signed the lease to the time you were ready to open?
Yeah, so we signed the lease, February 6th. We had our fundraiser on March 3rd, and we opened April 7th. So all the renovations took place between March 5th and essentially April 7th. Yeah, there were people still hanging things on the wall right before First Friday. So it was a very quick turnaround.
Dang, you guys did well.
Yeah, it was well orchestrated, well oiled machine.
And we had great support. We had great support.
The fundraiser, I just love to mention that and the detail of that. Like the amount of artists that made donations of their own work for us to be supported to open this was just mind blowing. Like we got so many people that gave us their work to just sell and keep the profits to open this place with no strings attached. It was amazing.
It was really heartwarming.
We're talking artists that weren't even or not even part of the gallery had donated work to help fundraise the renovation.
Yes.
Nope.
We even had artists from Michigan send stuff.
Dang, that
Yeah.
is awesome.
It was
And then
awesome.
we had family friends too that actually bought stuff online to help support us because we had put the entire fundraiser also on the website. So yeah, the support came from all kinds of different places, but it was just, yeah, brings tears to my eyes just thinking about it. Very generous.
Not me.
Yeah, no, not you. For as tough as Melissa is being from Detroit, she will also tear up within like 0.5 seconds when anything heartwarming happens.
So she's a big softie.
She is. Yep.
Sometimes galleries have a certain like philosophy or concept behind them. When we're talking cooperatives, is there anything of that nature kind of that you guys do? Like what does True North offer that maybe other galleries around town don't?
So it was very important for us to stand out from the other, especially cooperative galleries around town. And so we kind of had that in mind when we organized our space. And really the focus is on more contemporary fine art. So that's what we're looking for. So not so much stuff, and then not that there's anything wrong with any other kinds of art, but nothing that's, would be considered more crafty or, things of that nature. So we are really looking more for kind of that fine art aesthetic and more contemporary. So not necessarily, in some of the other places you can go in and it's got that very Colorado feel, which can be absolutely beautiful too, but we want to differentiate ourselves from that. So that was the main focus. Is that a fair statement, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And artists that are established or not necessarily so, that they just have quality work?
Like semi-professional and professional is what we were looking for. Yeah. People that have been showing and selling and like have an audience at some level as kind of what we have attracted. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some emerging artists too, though, but they've got strong out of the gate, right? Their quality is good and their personality just fits. Like we've got some really good new additions.
Yeah.
Besides fantastic work, what are you looking for as far as your artists are concerned, your stable of artists? You talked about personality. Is there something that you kind of look for in a person and how they gel with the rest of the group?
From the beginning, I think what I personally was kind of looking for is who's excited about this as much as we are. Like who wants to really invest in this? I feel like that was the first person that we had asked was she was just so excited, and I came back and told these two like, oh my God, she's in. And we were almost in tears because we were so excited because she was so excited. And we knew that if she was excited and these people are excited about this and they want in, they're invested. And yeah, that's my input on that question.
It was kind of an if you build it, they will come kind of mentality, I suppose, right? Quoting Field of Dreams. But I also think it's hard to put an exact, I don't know, descriptor on it. I think the three of us are fairly intuitive. And when people come into the space, it's either a good vibe or it's a bad vibe. And you just kind of have to trust it and go with it. So we recently brought on a new member who we had no experience with before too. And so, kind of wanted to meet them before officially bringing them on. And it was an instant, oh yeah, this is no problem. Yeah. Yes, you're in.
Yes.
The kind of feeling that went with it. So that's very much an important aspect of it too. It's like, it's not always easy to describe, but you just know it when you feel it.
Talk about where you're located downtown.
We are at right on the corner of Bijou and Tejon, and kind of right in the mix of where the art walk happens. So we are right smack in the middle of where people are just walking around, and our window is huge. And so I'm super excited about our location. Like, the walk by traffic that we get was something that we wanted, that we could add to our audience by just the passerbys that are just going to be coming along in the tourist seasons and et cetera. So yeah, it's a great location for that. You can see Tejon is a really hop-in street where all the little boutiques and shops are for the most part. And there are a lot on Bijou as well.
And near your buddy Brett Anderson's art alley there, and you got Clay Ross right down the.
Yep, and Clay's a member.
Look Up Gallery, we got him.
Yeah,
he was in. We were excited about that, and they're so warm and welcoming.
They've been fantastic too. And Emily has an HR background as well, so she's been able to look in on some of the documents that we've put together and provide feedback to, which is just amazing to have that resource.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're very generous people, so kind. And same with Brett Andrus, like, he's been so supportive and welcoming and just encouraging.
Yeah, some good galleries and good people around you. And yeah, I got to come down for that opening night, that first Friday in April, and I loved what I saw. That was the first time that I met Skylar, and got a little bit acquainted with the gallery and some of the artists that were in there, and got to apologize because I was screwing up the flow of everything because I saw Shannon Mello, and then you just can't have like a quick hello with Shannon. We were right in the midst of the stream of people coming through, but it was wonderful art, and it was just constant flow of people while I was there. Talk about the reception that you've received since you've opened. I got to experience that first Friday in April. How was May's first Friday?
It was even better. Yeah, it was even better. As the treasurer, our sales more than doubled from 1 month to the next. And so we'll see what the trend continues, at least moving forward. And obviously every month it will be different, but that was a really fantastic to see. And everybody that comes into, even when it's not First Friday, I've had several people comment on, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm in Colorado Springs and that this is here. This is amazing what you guys have put together. And it's always so heartwarming to hear. It just gives me the goosebumps, and just grateful that the community is so accepting of us, and really excited that we're here.
So you guys, your business structure, are you a for-profit, nonprofit? How does that work?
We're set up as an LLC. We did not fill out the nonprofit 501c3 paperwork because that's just long and tedious, but we have no interest in making a profit off of any of the artists. So really everybody's membership dues pay for the expenses. And then we, the artists, get to keep 100% of our sales minus any credit card processing fees. But we also contribute. So we all work shifts, and we all have small jobs that help the greater good of the gallery. And that's kind of the payment for getting to keep 100% of our sales.
Oh, wow. I just assumed it'd be like any other gallery where the gallery would take a cut for expenses.
No.
That's interesting.
That's a great business model if you're an artist.
Right.
To keep all the profits, right?
Mm-hmm.
In exchange for, your dues and
some time.
Some time, right? Some volunteering. I assume you have monthly meetings with all your artists,
Yes, we do.
and that's when you guys vote on any new membership or members that are coming in.
Membership committee handles the new members coming through, and that was actually kind of determined at our very first meeting, right, ladies? I think because we wanted to include everybody, and they said no, we'd rather have the membership committee handle that, and we trust you guys. And so we since developed a membership committee, and they manage that aspect of it. So we kind of poll the members just to make sure, again, that the personality situation, that to see if anybody's had any, good and or negative experiences with this individual before bringing them on. So that's really kind of the pulse check that we do. But other than that, yeah, membership committee handles that. But we tend to all other kinds of housekeeping during the monthly meetings. And so far, we've had two official ones, a few kind of in between ones as we were still under renovations and whatnot. But yeah, so we're still getting our feet underneath us.
Well, you're really set up like a nonprofit. I'm surprised.
We are.
Do you have a plan to register as a nonprofit, 501c3?
We have not talked about that yet. I think it just depends on how tedious and involved that process is. Yeah, because I used to work for a nonprofit too, and I remember every year that they would get audited and they would have this giant team. Of course, it was multi-million-dollar nonprofit called the Entrepreneurs Organization, so it was much more involved. But having seen that also scares me a little bit, just the time commitment of any particular thing. And of course, I don't know what I don't know right now, but I think it's a potential consideration, but we'd have to talk about it.
I would definitely look at that because there's some serious benefits of being a 501c3. And you're really structured as one anyway.
We really are. Yeah. And obviously we're not going to the three of us are not making a profit off of anything being, part of the LLC. So, it should even out that way. There should be nothing hitting our personal taxes as far as this goes.
Just your sales.
Just our own personal sales. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So your membership, is everybody from the Springs area? Or do you have anybody from outside the Springs?
They're currently all the Springs, I believe. And we're open to other people in surrounding areas as long as they're willing to make the trek to work a shift and, to help out just like everybody else. So that's not out of the question by any means. But yeah, so far they're all local.
And everybody's required to work multiple shifts a month or just one shift a month? How does that work?
2 right now. And then as we grow larger, it may be a little less than 2 over a year or so. But right now it's about 2 6-hour shifts a month.
And what are the membership dues a month, or is it a yearly fee?
Yeah, it's $145 a month. We do have the 2 3-foot walls, and those are only $110. So it's like super affordable.
Right.
I mean, it's easy to spend that on 2 meals, a month, right? And you never get to see outside of, the hour satisfaction of putting that into your body, benefits of that long term. So I think it's a totally manageable investment in oneself and one's art career. Absolutely. And then for anybody listening that might be interested, we do charge a one-time joining fee of $50. That's non-refundable. And there is a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent that we do collect that they'll get back at the end, and they could use towards last month's rent or just get it back if they decide to leave. But our contracts right now are through the end of the calendar year. And so once the new year starts, it'll be a full 12 months. But so anybody joining now will be committed at least until the end of the year.
Any other requirements or commitments that are required from your membership?
One thing that might be worth mentioning is we are asking our members to, everybody's got their 4-foot by 8-foot section. We are asking the members to swap out their artwork, if not every month, every other month. That way the gallery stays fresh, and that every time we are having our first Friday late nights, the gallery has something new and exciting to offer, right? We want to stay current. We want to stay active. So that is one thing that we are asking of our members.
Yeah. And then another thing too, you mentioned the other galleries in town and how receptive they were to us. One of the things that we want to ensure is so we don't step on anybody's toes, because a lot of us have shown at these other galleries in town, they have within their contracts a certain time after the exhibition comes down that we still need to pay them a commission should any collector find us through their visiting that particular gallery. And so we're requiring all artists that if you decide to put up any artwork that was in a recent show within this time frame, that you communicate with that gallery, and that if that artwork happens to sell, then you pay them the commission, no questions asked. Because if I'm working that shift that particular day and I sell somebody else's artwork, I'm not going to know to ascertain how they found this particular artist and that artwork. So it's really just the right thing to do, and to help maintain those relationships with the galleries who put so much time and effort and love into, working their butts off for each and every one of us when they exhibit our work. So we want to make sure that we honor those relationships.
Nice. You've only been open for about a month and a half now. Not even quite that, but what's that?
I said it's crazy.
It goes by quick, right?
It does. But it also feels like so much longer than that, and not in a bad way. But I mean, these last 4 months it feels like a year. And again, not in a bad way, but it's just been so much. Yeah.
It was a lot of work for the three of us before we opened. So we've been working since January, but yes, a month.
Yeah. Like 80-hour weeks.
What kind of challenges have you faced? I mean, it's easy to highlight how easily it's come together and all that, but what things have come up that you didn't anticipate being a new gallery and participating as kind of running the show?
A couple things come to mind. Like, definitely did not anticipate the cost of moving the HVAC. Right. That is a sore spot, because we had friends offer to do it for free, but it would have voided the contract. So it's like, okay, that was a huge cost we weren't really expecting, and kind of set us back a little bit there. We'll make up for it. It'll be fine. And then just, I think, the managing of people. I didn't think that part through, right? But as part of the tripod leg, I've got committees that I now oversee. It's like, okay, I'm in a lot of meetings, talking to a lot of people, and I'm loving building the relationships. I didn't see that being such a huge time commitment, right? Meeting, we still meet regularly, and then I meet with the committees that I'm responsible for. And there's a lot of people. It's good.
A lot of moving parts, right?
A lot of moving parts. It's like, we're up and we're running, but we're still building it on the back in ways that, you didn't know, like this potential of it being a nonprofit. Like, you don't know till you don't know. And now that we're in it and we're getting more information as we grow and we build, it's like, okay, yeah, we should probably look into that. Who has time, right? Because we all have our art careers, and I have a job on top of that, and it's a lot. It does seem like it's been a year, right? I'm tired.
You're not alone. I'm always tired, so you're not alone.
It's very much, we had this old saying in the company I used to work for, is that, we are building the ship as we're setting out to sea. Mm-hmm. So I think that perfectly summarizes all of it there, especially with that. We don't know what we don't know. We're going to have growing pains. Yes, managing people. We definitely want the co-op to be self-sustaining, and we want people to have to feel empowered to make decisions within their specific areas too. But until we get that framework built in, they still obviously look to the three of us for leadership. And so, I think once we have a few more months underneath our belt, and everybody kind of knows what's expected and what they need to do to fulfill their responsibilities, it's going to run like a well-oiled machine. But so it's just going to take a little bit more time to get there. But so far it's been fantastic. And, yes, we have a great crew, and I'm so grateful for that, as I am grateful for the both of you ladies.
Yeah, same. Yeah, we're lucky. We don't get people. People management, it is a lot of people. It's like, remember how hard it was to go to Blockbuster and pick out a movie, like just 2 people? Like, I always think of that. But overall, considering how many people we have, we don't get a lot of pushback or a lot of complaints or anything. Like, so far, and it is new, like totally, but considering the amount of people we are working together with, again, it's going pretty darn good as far as I can tell. I mean, yeah, there's hiccups, and it's definitely personalities we have to work things out with certain things, but overall, I feel like it's like surprisingly going well with the personalities. And again, probably what Marisa was saying, like just checking out with our intuitions, like if it's a good fit, I think has really, helped us in that.
I don't really feel that we've had a lot of pushback. We've just had some really good suggestions come to the table. I mean, the three of us have been pretty lucky, like, thinking about, oh yeah, well, what about this? And what about this? And there's holes and there's blind spots. And then one of our members will come up and be like, hey, have you thought about, it's like, oh, I haven't. That's a brilliant idea. Can you handle it? And they take it and they go, and it's like, yes, thank you. It's like, it's working. Mm-hmm. Right. Nice. And one thing that I think is really worth mentioning here, the three of us really do a great job coming to each other and talking to each other and making sure that we are all solid and in a good space. It's like, okay, my feelings were hurt. Can you tell me why you did this or why you said that? It's like, there is no like, oh, well, I'm hurt. And it's like, no, we come together and we're like, talk to me. What's going on with you in your world? It's like, okay, this is going on, or this is going on, or I need some slack here. And these women have been so amazing, have been like, yeah, I got you. Right. Like
yeah.
we really build each other up.
I appreciated that. I remember Marisa sat down, we had our first meeting, and Marisa was like, let's talk about our fears. Like she just brought a good part of, that to the table at the get-go. And we had a good solid talk that day about it. Like, hey, let's promise that we're going to keep talking to each other, because, when you start doing business with friends, it gets stressful. And it's like, we were like, hopefully we can push through. And it has been like so much work and figuring it out, like building a ship while you're sailing it. That's not very easy. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. And like, it's like to be able to admit like that hey, yeah, we don't know how to do this. Show us how to do this. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of humility among us, and like we're teachable. We're ready to, work together on things and figure things out together. And these two women are just so approachable, and it's just so refreshing because, that's not always easy to do. And we've been able to do it. I feel like we've done it really well.
I do too.
Yeah.
So communication obviously has been key, and you guys all are really great, it sounds like, in communicating with each other and what's going on. What outside of that has really helped this thing along? Do you think it helps being you said building the ship as you're sailing it? Do you think it has been a little bit to your benefit, being a little bit maybe naive, jumping in with both feet and not realizing just what this all entailed?
Oh, I'm sure that
that is a good question. I can say, I do have a fairly extensive background for business, and having started my own company, and my husband had actually started his own company. And before we met, we did a really, I think, good job to have kind of managed. Let me back up and also say, for the previous job that I had, I did program management. So I was working events and for international events as well too. So having a little bit of that background helped to really kind of streamline, here's what all the things that need to be done. Here's to help manage expectations, that we don't know what is going to go wrong. I promise you something will go wrong and it's going to scoot our timeline. So we need to put in buffers for that and try to build out all of that in order to execute and actually go live on April 7th. So it was kind of like a really focused vision to get going, to get this open, and knowing that all these other things, we can kind of figure it out on the way. But that's the main thing. And so I think that was kind of how where we focused our attention, and then having a little bit of faith, knowing that the rest of it will work its way out. And as we start to build up our membership, then they can start taking on some of these responsibilities to help build the rest of it out. So it doesn't have to just be the three of us.
And we were given like so much helpful information to start with that was just so generous, that saved us months of probably trying to figure out, write up, like just an unbelievable amount of information was handed to us, and that was really helpful. So just getting it organized was a lot of the work, is getting it organized and figuring out how to put it together for us. But yeah, it was helpful to have that to kick us off, because otherwise I don't know how we could have opened that quickly. We were excited to find a space. I remember Marisa and I were like, "Ooh, let's go look around!" Like, we were all excited. So we like started scouting properties right away, and then found our place and did a little dance that you've seen online. So
Like you said, it happened so easily. I mean, and the fact that the landlord was there that day too and gave us the key to kind of walk through on our own. And yeah, I mean, it really just kind of fell into our laps.
yeah, the landlord's great. Like he's also my landlord for the studio, and the Saks building has for many, many, many years. Like I think I met a guy that over 20 years has been in that building. That there's just a lot of artist studios in there and a few others, but like they love art. They were so excited that we were going to be making it an art gallery, and they have just been so overly joyed to see like what it's like now and that we're there. They're just really happy that it was going to be an art gallery, which was cool, and they're very supportive of the arts in general, our landlord. So that was awesome too. Felt just meant to be. Yeah.
She has walked in with stars in her eyes on numerous occasions. It's just like, I have no idea. Not in my wildest dreams did I think that you guys were going to do this. I think maybe she envisioned that we were just going to paint over those wood slats or what. I have no idea, but she's been so complimentary every time she comes in.
Yeah, she's got to be over the moon having an art gallery, because an art gallery actually really adds a lot to a block or a neighborhood or what have you, as far as the kind of people that come through there, and the beautification, in itself is worth the price of admission, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
you mentioned the membership committee, and you also touched that there's other committees. What other committees are involved with the gallery? How many committees do you have?
We have the curation committee who hands the curation, which Melissa's in charge of.
Right. So I'm responsible for the curation committee, the overall gallery, what's the four walls, and maintenance, right, and now marketing.
Yeah, and yeah, we have the marketing people that are doing our marketing. That's the committee. I run the first Friday event, and then we will be opening the gallery for members to have workshops and other related events that they will run after hours. And so we have, that's what my committee does, is kind of organizes that and keeps track of that calendar and stuff. And we have a calendar committee, someone who
Scheduling.
that schedules everybody for their shifts, and she's kind of oversees that, and then maintenance.
Yeah. And then we, of course, got the treasury and website and kind of graphic design kind of go hand in hand under, one individual, but we've got a couple people updating all the artwork that needs to be added to the website and what have you. So, and then now that we've got a new person who's going to be handling our monthly newsletter, which is just fantastic. So yeah, we got a lot of moving parts.
That's
and again,
good.
it's nice that there are little bite-sized chunks that we can parcel out, so that way it's not a full-time job for anybody.
Yeah, that's great that you're actually, kind of, like you said, parsing things out to different individuals, because that'll keep you having burnout, because if the three of you are running everything, that would just be overwhelming, right?
Mm-hmm. That's not the vision that we had at the beginning.
We all want to travel and see and paint and create. So
yes.
Yeah, you got to have time for that as well, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So y'all have your own studios. So nobody has you don't have a studio space to work in. It's just all gallery at this point, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not big enough with 527 square feet or however tiny the space is.
Tenant wants to acknowledge our media sponsor, New Magazine. That's NUE.
You can follow both the national and the Denver edition of New Magazine on Instagram. The national edition can be found at new_magazine and the Denver edition at new_Denver_magazine. And I want to share with you something very exciting. Check out the newly launched New Denver Gallery Guide. Look for the signage that says New Denver Gallery Guide that has a QR code. Scan it with your phone, and you have instant access to a comprehensive digital guide to Denver's finest galleries and exhibitions. Find this QR code in your favorite gallery, hotel, or coffee shop as you visit and explore Denver. Thanks for listening.
I'm Melissa Porter.
I'm Skylar Call.
And I'm Marisa White, and you're listening to the Tenant Podcast.
So have any of you acquired new skill sets that you didn't know that you would happen through this whole process?
Yes, actually. I am now a master at caulking. Didn't see that coming. And it's actually funny because as an assemblage artist, I actually ended up going back and taking a piece apart and reassembling it much stronger and much sturdier than it was originally with my newfound building skills. So yeah, it's actually benefited me in a weird way.
So now that you're doing maintenance, do you have a little tool belt that holds your screwdrivers and hammers?
I have an apron.
Yeah, I worked a paint sprayer for the first time. That was exciting. I looked like an astronaut covered from head to toe, That was super cool. But then also, it was actually kind of fun. I say fun. I think I'm probably going to be looked at weird, but building out our little project spreadsheet, because I've done that for program management, but it's a little different, but it's kind of similar. And so that was a bit of a new skill set. And my husband had a little bit more experience within that. So he sat down with me and kind of helped to build that out together. So that was definitely something new that I had not done before. But yeah, kind of necessary though to help keep us in track.
So what kind of software tools are you using that you would recommend for somebody that's starting a collective? Is there do you have program management tools like Asana or anything, or is it all done on paper?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Paper, Excel spreadsheets. We did so our scheduling person hooked us up with Homebase, which is what we're using for our calendar and scheduling shifts, because we were using Google Calendar before that. And that you would think would be easy because it's Google, right? But we had so many people have trouble accessing the Google Calendar. So we had to resort elsewhere.
And we're using Shopify.
Yeah, we're using Shopify for our website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the Shopify. I hadn't, had that experience working with that particularly, but I like that a lot.
We talked to a bunch of other galleries around town to kind of figure out what they used, and most of them used Shopify. So we had kind of considered going a different route at the very beginning and building out our website. But, Shopify, they're out of Canada, right? I think they're first and foremost is a POS. So they're experts at making sure that we can separate people from their money, right? And so that part was very, very easy to at least get set up. So when we had our fundraiser going, we got the little card reader and had, all of that set up pretty quickly. So now building out the website, that was a whole other story, because that through Shopify was not terribly intuitive. And there were a few long nights and some cursing that came about with that whole project. But other than that, though, as far as having that software in the gallery, it's really easy. It's super intuitive. We, outside of maybe some internet connections here or there, we haven't really had any issues. So yeah, it's been good to use.
And then what are you using for your newsletter?
MailChimp. Yeah.
Just
so
the free version, or did you end up having to pay for it just because?
The free version right now. And that it looks like it's kind of hooked up also with Shopify. So they've got kind of a streamlined process. So anybody who purchases anything online, it'll automatically add them as a contact to our MailChimp account.
Nice.
Yeah. That is convenient.
You guys touched on how easy it ended up finding a space in the Springs there. Is there a lot of commercial space available right now? And is it like the rest of Colorado where commercial space is kind of a premium as far as cost is concerned?
I certainly haven't looked thoroughly at what real estate is, where it's at right now. But when we just walked around and looked and stuff, there was a few places, but I just I feel like we got such a great space, and it's pretty affordable for the big storefront window that's in such a high traffic area. There were some other places around the corner that were not as visible, I don't feel like, and more expensive, maybe a little bigger, but I feel like it's filling up. I just talked to a guest who came into the gallery the other day, and he said it feels like things are really filling up around here. But I mean, if you go a little farther east on Bijou, there are some vacancies, but it is really like the city's working really hard, I think, to make it a busy place and appealing to people, and they're helping advertise a lot, I feel like. And they're really working hard on promoting the arts right now in Colorado Springs, like pretty cool.
You have 15 artists, and you guys touched on what each one of you do. Talk about some of the other artists that are members of this co-op.
Yeah, we've got a nice array of different styles for sure. Me being the photographer, we have currently, there's 3 of us now. So that's also exciting because I, as a photographer, for one, and knowing that our medium is generally, editioned, or sometimes it's unlimited. And so it's not often valued at the same level as original pieces. So it's kind of makes me feel good knowing that we have other photographers in the gallery as well, and probably more photographers than any other gallery space. So that brings me a lot of joy. And they're very different too. Again, we're all very different. So where I do digital manipulation composites, we have a couple of documentary, one I think is, but very different styles, very, very different styles. So we have one that focuses, God, his eye is just so incredible. And I was drawn to his work immediately. He's one that I reached out to at the very beginning, like, you need to be a part of this. You need to be a part of this. And I'm so glad that he finally saw what we put together and is like, yes, I want to be a part of this. And then the new person that we just brought in too just has this just like beautiful, lovely, kind of feminine aesthetic. Both of them do black and white photography, but the new person, he also does color as well, but what he's showing currently is black and white. But yeah, I just love them. And I'm, very particular about photography, obviously, since that's my passion. But yeah, between that and then we do have a lot of painters, all with very different styles. I'll let you guys kind of speak to them.
And we've got 2 encaustic artists, myself and of course Shannon Mello, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe Bonnie does encaustic too.
She does cold wax, right? Does she cold wax as well as Lori? Yeah. Lori does cold wax also. And then, of course, Robert Lococo is our resident birdman. And he's always painting birds, but they're very kind of cool contemporary styles. And he's been dabbling in sculpture lately, too, which actually those have been selling very well. So, yeah.
He's got a wicked sense of humor.
He's great. Yeah. And then, so we have Jasmine Dilivo also, who's more of a performance artist, but part of her performance pieces have turned into kind of 2-dimensional conceptual artwork where she's kind of using words and her breath and her lips in order to paint, essentially, if you will, on paper. And whether she's kind of reciting the performance or reciting a recipe or a poem, that is the visual translation of it onto paper. So it's really kind of beautiful and unique and very different than anything else that we have in the space too. Oh gosh, who else?
Yeah. Should I tell you the names of everybody, or
let's do it?
I think that would be a fun shout out to everybody.
I think so. Yeah.
Actually part of the gallery. So Chelsea Boucher, Shannon Mello, Clay Ross, Heidi Commissar, Bonnie Anthony, Kevin Johnson, Lori DeBiscali, Robert Lococo, Jasmine Dilvo, Nathan Travis, Matt Milarchek, which is a hard name to say, and Peyton DiVincenti. Those are our artists. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kevin Johnson is an amazing painter as well, too. He has some artwork that some of his prints were put on, was it the windows over, is that the Holiday Inn, or it's one of the hotels further down the street. And he recently just had a show out in Atlanta, and I believe was even featured on, was it Black Art America? Some kind of big publication out there through that gallery affiliation. So yeah, I absolutely love his work. He's painting people on clouds right now, and I do a lot of cloud work as well. So I find him like a kindred spirit in a different medium.
Nice. It sounds like it's been very inspiring to be part of this collective of artists.
Yes.
it is very inspiring. I love the different mediums and just seeing what people are putting up. And I just think it's all so beautiful, and just everybody is just really good at what they do. And it's just really cool. And they got heart. They really do. Matt had mentioned in his first meeting with us, he's like, I love that you guys do this, not because you can, but because you have to. And he's like, Matt, I just really love that he recognized that about our group, that how important it is for us to do this, to create our work. So it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like we touched on before, you've only been open for about a month and a half. Have you seen any kind of discernible trends in that month and a half that you've been open? Are there certain days of the week that are better than others, certain hours? Obviously, first Fridays are always good because you're going to get a lot of people through the gallery, but any trends that you've been able to see so far?
Not so much yet. I mean, for sure, First Fridays is the biggest money-making day for us. It seems like right now, maybe the weekends tend to have a little bit more flow of people coming through, which makes sense just in general. But for sales, we get a few more one-offs that will happen. But, it's also kind of random. So there's really no rhythm to it yet. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when tourist season officially kicks off. And then when we get through a first holiday season and how that changes things as well. So we'll have a lot of history to I don't know, recite to when you have us on in a year.
Yeah, I feel like it is random because it's like, I just really believe, I'm sure most people do, that the right person has to see the right piece of art to really be moved, to just have to have it, a lot of times. And so it does feel kind of random, like there's no real system to it. Just the right person has to be there. So I'm glad we're open so many days.
Yeah.
It does, having worked in the gallery both on a Wednesday and a Saturday, the weekends are definitely busier, right? There's just consistent foot traffic, which was nice. Keeping in mind that the Saturday I worked was gorgeous weather, and we're learning that the weather also plays a part in, the torrential downpours we've had the last couple of days. There really has been no foot traffic in the gallery, but that's just the nature of not being in a mall, right? Like you have to get through the elements to get to us.
Yeah.
Now, are you open 7 days a week, and what are your hours?
It's 6 days a week. So Tuesday through Sunday, 11 to 5.
Obviously, you've done sales to the gallery, but you also have an online presence where people can buy art. Have you been able to make sales through your website already?
A few. Yeah. Yeah. It's always a surprise when that happens, but a welcome surprise.
Yeah. And is it mostly people in the area, or have you had purchases from, out of the area or out of state?
We haven't had too many online sales just yet. We've had one out of state sale, and that was during the fundraiser time, which was just wonderful. But so the others that we've received have been in town sales. I think they just wanted dibs on whatever they saw and wanted to make sure they got those dibs before anybody else did. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine that eventually you'll see more growth in that as well as your name gets out there and you've been open a while. I would think you would see a little bit more online kind of sales.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. The other interesting thing too, and especially since we're not, taking a profit off of any of our artists, it gives us the flexibility to sell this piece elsewhere. So actually the Friday of First Friday, I got a message from one of our other members who happened to sell one of the pieces that he had on the wall to somebody on Instagram and was a little concerned about how that was going to play out accounting wise. And it's like, congratulations, man. And it's great. And actually it's even better because now we don't have to shuffle it through our books. You can take care of that on your end, and, fantastic. So, so it's nice to have that flexibility as well, too, that we don't have to worry about it. Just let us know that it's sold so we can mark it as sold so we don't accidentally try to sell it twice.
Has social media been much of a influence in the gallery taking off and getting recognition and a little bit of a reputation already?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you said that you have a person that does that for you, or one of you take care of that?
We do now. Initially, I started with it, and it was fun initially to see it grow, but it is a full-time job. And with all the other things that have going on, I was thrilled to have Jasmine come on board, and she has picked up the social media and the marketing and is running with it in ways that I could have never. She's my favorite.
And she does this for her. She has a separate business. Her and her husband own ephemera dinners or dinners. Yes, in town. That's this most amazing place to eat. So if you guys come down, you'll have to definitely book a reservation there. But usually you can get anywhere 3 to 5 course meal paired with wine. It's definitely high end, beautiful. Kind of the structure that they set it up. I would say it's kind of akin to how you would go to a restaurant in Europe. So it's a very small area that they really don't seat any more than, say, 40 people. And so you get kind of a little bit more of a personalized, fine experience. So she does the marketing, all that to say, a little plug for her on that side. But all that to say is that she does the social media for ephemera as well. And then I think she also does it for a few other clients as well as her own personal art endeavors. And so she's got it working like a well-oiled machine in that regard. And we are so grateful because that is not a skill set that I have, nor do I really even want it. So again, cater to everybody's strengths.
So you're on Instagram. Are you on any other social media platforms?
Or on Facebook too. Yeah.
But that's it, right? Nothing else.
Are we on Twitter? I feel like Jasmine said we're going to get on Twitter. I don't know.
We got a meeting next week. I'll let you know then.
Okay, yeah. We may or may not be on Twitter. I don't know.
Should we be on anything else, I guess is a question.
I think if you can hit them all, I mean, Todd for us is the social media, and I know he does LinkedIn and, Instagram and Facebook. To get your name out there, I think it's fine. But so your Facebook and Instagram, and then maybe Twitter in the future.
Or now, maybe we're on there. I don't know.
I don't either.
Let me know. No, I'm just kidding.
So I got to say, social media definitely works. Obviously, we all know that as artists, how important that is in this day and age. And the way that I found out about you guys is that Marisa actually had friended me on Facebook. However that shook out, the algorithm gods sent me her way, or her my way, however you want to look at it. And I started seeing, as a new friend, I started seeing things that she was posting, like her painting walls and that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then I tuned into it and I was like, oh, this is a new gallery. I definitely need to get down the first Friday and check this out. So social media definitely works. And and I credit Marisa and making me aware of what was kind of going on with this new gallery space. So very cool.
Yay. Go Marisa.
Yeah. Go Marisa.
Jasmine.
We talked a little bit about social media, and marketing was mentioned. Are you guys doing any kind of advertising beyond the social media thing? Are you advertising or marketing to, since tourist season is coming up, and any kind of publications or anything? Is there a budget yet for that sort of thing?
Not at this time, but we are talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Colorado Springs is obviously growing by leaps and bounds. And I think it's the second fastest growing city in the country. So, and you can tell all the new development that's happening, especially around downtown. So the people are coming. Right now, we are involved with the downtown partnership. And so they printed a new map of the downtown area that goes to the airports and a lot of other tourist centers for anybody that's coming through to be able to pick up. And we got in just in time, I was told when I met with Austin the other day. So we are listed on the map. We have our name on there. So that's definitely exciting. But yeah, no, we're not yet. We have not looked at advertising in any other publications or magazines. My goal at some point is to see about trying to get at least an article in the Colorado Springs Indy or the Gazette or something to that effect, so we can get a little bit more awareness as to who we are and what we're doing for those that don't venture downtown. Because you know how it is in the cities, usually you kind of live in your own little bubble and you kind of exist only in that space, and you don't ever venture down to the other side if you don't have to, unless you know something's going on, right? So hopefully once we can get some more media attention that way, that we can bring some other interested parties down our way.
Right. Especially from the outlying suburbs, because Colorado spreads out like there's a lot of miles here, right? And the downtown hub seems to be where the art action is happening, but there's still a lot of people to bring them down.
Yeah, there's a lot of people and a lot of area. So definitely could tap into that, right? And I think you're right, Marisa. I think that when you live in a metropolitan area, you kind of get stuck in your little pocket of the city, and it's hard to break out of that unless you have a reason to, right?
Right. Exactly.
Are you offering individual like solo shows throughout the year? You don't have a ton of space, so
currently we have hall gallery space that is not claimed by a member just yet. So my committee is working through who to bring in, right? And we're trying to be very cognizant because yes, we can bring in artists. They're not paying the overall membership fee. We're taking, I think, a commission for the gallery. But it's difficult because we don't know how far out that wall is going to be available. So we're kind of working at a snail's pace, like, okay, well, next First Friday, we need to have something in here because I don't think we'll be up to membership just yet. And then trying to forecast out how is the membership going to allow for wall space for the coming months, and how do we fill what's left, right? It's been an interesting dynamic to try to figure that out. So yeah, my committee's on it. He's reaching out to all kinds of local artists that he knows. He used to be a gallery owner, so that helps because he knows people in town, and I'm still pretty new here, so I'm letting him run with that. But we'll have a rotating exhibition monthly in the hall gallery until that gets to member capacity.
And how much of a role do you guys play in facilitating or suggesting what you want to see from a certain artist?
That's a good question. There was some suggestions of maybe bringing in some people to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. That kind of fell through this month with, reaching out to a couple of people in the fundraiser that we had. Not everything sold, right? So some of the donation pieces still have value. So for the month that's coming, we're going to hang that stuff back up on the gallery because we get 100% of the sale of that. And we kind of need the working capital right now. So I know for sure our next month's show will be those donated pieces that we'll bring back to show and hopefully sell. Right. So we're winging that.
Were you also asking about whether or not the curation team is kind of also trying to encourage or suggest what the members are also putting up? I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That was part of that question.
Okay. So the members are actually anonymous. You can hang whatever you want as long as it's not directed and harmful to any person, place, or thing, right? Like as long as the work is not harmful, then you have free reign. We're encouraging our artists to hang their own, but if you need help, let us know and we'll come down and help you, decide what goes where, how high, how low, that sort of thing. We're there hands on to help those that want it. Most of our artists don't seem to want it or need it, and that's great. And it's fun to come in to see how they've done their thing. Like, okay, we've got specific guidelines in place, like if everybody's got a 4-foot wall, make sure you leave 2 inches on each side so that there's a definite distinction between the artists. There's a name at the bottom that kind of dictates the space. So far, so good.
And the only criterion, like you said, is it shouldn't offend anyone or hurt anyone. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're not censoring our artists, right? Like we don't want to go there, but be mindful, right? And don't be a dick.
That should be a general rule for everybody. Don't be a dick.
That's in the handbook. Yeah.
It is in the handbook. I think they might have cleaned up my verbiage a little bit.
We put in a quote unquote asshole clause in there. So,
you may be asked to leave if you're, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, these are weird times when it comes to people being offended. So it'll be interesting to see how that obviously I'm sure you'll navigate that just fine, but I'm finding people are like way too sensitive, but that's all right.
It happens.
I think it's more like hate. No, let's not show any hateful stuff. And
right.
So, yeah.
But I would like to say that the curation team did an excellent job setting everything up from the get-go. And one of the things that Melissa was very, passionate about at the beginning was that the artwork flowed well. So even from one artist to the next, and we wanted them to complement each other, and nobody's going to hang work next to somebody else to where it's so busy that you can't see or appreciate either one of their artworks. But then also that there's ample breathing room around the work, so it doesn't feel like just a hodgepodge collage smattering across the walls. So we wanted it to feel really fresh, contemporary, but flow very well too. So the, all of us kind of gave over our, what's the word, gave permission to the curation team to hang where they saw fit. So we didn't claim any particular space. The curation team said, this is what's happening. This is where we're going to lay you guys out according to who looks good next to each other. And they did just a beautiful job.
Nice.
Thank you. That was a challenge because, we had the work that was there, but who knows what anybody's bringing in the months to come, right? It's like, okay, to know this person's style, hopefully it'll look good next to it in the months to come. It was a challenge, but yeah, I think it turned out really well.
If you're an artist and you have a space, that space is your space until as long as you're there, or do you move them around?
Currently, we're staying where we're at, but there is plenty of room, and there's been talk amongst the artists like, okay, I wouldn't have trouble moving, right? Like I'm dead center on the back wall. It's like, okay, I can really be anywhere, right? And there's been other artists that have said the same thing. It's like, I'm not committed to where I'm at. So if somebody else feels strongly about wanting this space, we can move it around, right? It's a living, breathing thing, and it needs to be, right? That's the beauty of it.
And it sounds like everybody's pretty cooperative. So that's not, at least at this point anyway. Well, next year,
check back in.
Might be a different story, but
let's hope not.
No, it
I'm
will
sure it'll be
not.
fun.
It will not be a different story. It will be amazing next year. We will all get along.
It would.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah,
That's right.
What Skylar said.
Right.
Yep.
Manifest that shit.
Yeah, put it out to the universe so it can take care of it.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
How we're rolling with this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you guys have had a vision from the get-go, but at the same time, you're assembling the ship as you're sailing it, as you mentioned before. What are some of the short-term goals, and what are possibly some of the long-term goals that you guys have for True North?
Well, I'll speak my spot. So short-term goals would be to get up to full capacity, because, that's when we're going to be able to just completely 100% sustainable from month to month. So that, I think, is a really important goal. And then to really, from my perspective, just to get, at least for the areas that I kind of am overseeing or own of the tripod, to make sure that there are good processes in place and the framework is built out. So each of the people that are working in those specific areas know exactly what they're supposed to do, and they can just, feel empowered to get things done. So, yeah, it runs like a well-oiled machine. Like I keep saying that a lot, but yeah, those are, I think, for sure the short-term goals that I see, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, making sure everything's in place so everybody knows how to do their job in that area in case people come and go, because it is a 1-year contract. So as long as everything's set in place, then we can just move people in and out, and it's like a job description,
Right. And I think for mine, like some of the short-term goals, because I oversee the physical space, it's like there's some creature comforts that would be really nice to have, a mini fridge, maybe a coffee maker, right? Because when you're there doing your 6-hour shifts, that just stuff like that. And then also I'm really excited about getting the marketing team up and running and seeing what they can do now that we have, 2 people on our team. We have a team, right? 2's a team. So I'm excited to see what they bring in as far as energy and foot traffic and all the things that help us grow to capacity, and for everybody to be successful in their own ways and feel like this is a good fit, and just the joy of it.
It's long-term goals, that everything's running smoothly and everybody's selling work, and we continue to be well received within the community. People are excited to come, that, maybe we still have standing room only kind of situation for First Fridays, but yeah, just to kind of keep that excitement going, and that we continue to bring new things in each month that people are excited to see. So, but yeah, that everything's running smoothly.
Also, on another kind of note with goals, it's cool to see how we're coming together and like as a group and saying like, when can we hang out? Like, when can we get to know each other better and do stuff together and just really thrive off that inspiration from one another, from just like, and there's just been requests kind of coming in. I want to have you guys over. I want to have you guys over for this. And so I'm excited about that as we continue to bond as a group of artists, because our mission statement is to, have a place for people to show, but for us to support one another and connect with the community are the main, things that we're about. And so once we do start running like this well-oiled machine, it will be nice to have fun to play and just like go spend time with each other, just like getting more inspired. So I'm excited about that part.
And who knows what collaborations will come out of that, right?
Right. There was talk about, we each have our 4-foot wall, and it was suggested that maybe we collaborate and the walls the lines between them merge and the work just becomes about the two artists that are working together. It'll be very exciting to see how we also influence each other, right? Like just the little things. It's exciting.
That is exciting.
Love hanging out with artists, man. It's just my favorite thing to do.
Anything else you want to talk about or promote before we sign off for the day?
Gosh.
I just think this was really thorough.
Yeah.
Celebrate Tenant podcast, and thank you so much for asking us. Like, it's such an honor for you to show interest and let us share. It's just such a privilege. Thank you.
Just for anybody that hasn't been to the gallery yet, come on down. We'll welcome you with open arms. We'll talk to you about the different artists that we have on hand and, maybe help find something for your walls. But yeah.
We would love to talk to you. Come see us.
I'm just so grateful to be here and to meet everybody that's coming through. It's just been amazing. And it just touches me.
I love that. I'm a big sap. So to see a fellow sapper is always... I'm a sapper shirts, I think. I got one question. This will be my last question. In the weird times that we live in, doesn't have to be in art related, but what brings you hope?
Well, I'll speak first to that, I guess. I try to live in the positive space. I really do look at the world as two different, there's two different sides to every coin, and we can choose to live in a space where we're indoctrinated with all the crap that's on social media and the news and downward spiral into the abyss of woe is me and our country is going into hell in a handbasket and all of that. But I don't prescribe to any of that, and nor do I pay attention to any of that. I also believe that there is a positive side to every situation. And even when times are tough, and sometimes it's hard to look at it this way, I try to flip that switch and look at, okay, well, yes, this sucks, but here's the positive side of that, and move forward in that direction, because that's what helps to keep me sane. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point. Probably we've been really hard work for the last 5 years, but our attitudes are the only thing that we can control, right? And so if I can choose to be in a happy space or in a bad space, I'm going to choose for the happy space every single time. And so with that approach, I there's always hope. The hope is always around us. It's, it's there for the grasping, for the taking. It's the mindset that we have. And so that's just kind of the value system that I put in place for myself.
I have a higher power of a spiritual path. Prayer and meditation is a huge, huge part of my walk. And it does center me. It grounds me. It reminds me that there is love all around. And when I connect with people, I just really come in contact even more with that. I have a great support system that I can share when I struggle and when I'm discouraged. And like, they just the love of that just really brings me back and centers me and makes me feel calm and excited and just focused on joy. Then I do a lot of writing and yeah.
Yes. Melissa?
I'm going to sap up on you.
Good.
Because I love this question. I love this question because my dog was named Hope. And Hope passed away in October, and Hope walked with me through the darkest of days and brought me here. Like, she brought me here, and I'm here with these two, right? And you just heard what they said. They bring me hope, right? They just do. They're just good people, and I'm happy to be here.
You're going to make me cry now, too. I love you guys.
Love you guys, too.
This has been a wonderful time to spend with you. I really honored to have you guys on the show. And I'm glad we got to spend this time. Looking forward to what your path that you guys are on. It sounds amazing. Can't wait to come down to the Springs and see it for myself. Dan, good luck, and we'll be watching. I'll be watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's been so much fun being on here. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this was fun. I was so nervous, but it's actually been really fun.
Well, I appreciate all of you spending the time that you did with us today. It's been a joy to talk with you all. It was great to see the gallery in person, and I'll definitely be back. And congratulations on what you're doing and facilitating in your community there in Colorado Springs. You guys are doing a wonderful job, and I look forward to seeing where you go with this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to follow True North Art Gallery on Instagram at true_north_art_gallery. I can't underscore that enough. And visit the True North Art Gallery website at truenorthartgallery.com to see current and upcoming exhibitions and take in the stunning work of all the amazing artists that are part of this exciting new art co-op in the Springs. True North is located at 31 East Bijou Street, Colorado Springs, 80903. If you live in the area or happen to be passing through the Springs and love art, please stop in and check them out. I will have all this and more in this week's episode notes for the Tenant Podcast. I'm Todd Pearson.
And I'm Wes Brown.
Have a great week.